Hi, welcome to the Fun Box. And today we're going to be looking at a Taurus T25 from Washburn. That one. So this is the Washburn T25 bass. This is a neck-through construction, mahogany and maple. I believe these were out in the early 2000s. I couldn't find a definitive release date. I could have looked up the Taurus T24s, but I'm just going to assume that the T25 came out later. It might have came out in the same year, but I'm going to assume it came out later. And yeah, I couldn't find a date. So if somebody knows it, let me know. But anyways, I think it's about early 2000s. I don't think this was late 90s. If it was late 90s, cool. That would make me even happier with it. So the bridge is made in Germany. I forget the brand. I had to pull it off to check the ground wire. And I found the brand, looked it up, and I just forget the name, but it was out of Germany. And I've never seen another bridge like this. Maybe somebody out there has. But right here, there's on each one of these, there's a little wheel that you can roll either forwards or backwards. And it will actually roll right or left. So this bridge will allow you to actually change the string spacing, right, all the way up. And yeah, I think it's cool. So if I want to put the strings right out to the edge of the neck, I can come pretty close to doing that. If I want to keep them all kind of tight together, I can do that too. So over the years, I've adjusted these a multitude of different ways, and now it's pretty much set where I like it. Hardly even look at it. Yeah, there you can see the center string is right in the center, and then they kind of spread out just a tiny bit as they go out to the outside strings. The internals, capacitors, resistors, pots, wires, that's all been swapped out for American made. This switch actually goes from a single coil and turns both into humbuckers. So for a really like louder, almost aggressive, bassier, like a humbucker, I got a switch for that. I usually don't play on that though. I usually play on the single coils on this. Just sound better to me, especially the neck one, and we'll get there. So the knobs are kind of you might not be able to see them. There's little red dots on those knobs. Little red dots. I wanted the like old school knobs that you could like see what level you're at, kind of, right? But I didn't really want to put like a 0 through 10 numbering pattern like on the bass, right? But I still wanted the knobs to, I can kind of tell where they're at anyways, but I just thought it would look cool. And I love black and red. So I went searching for knobs, also the ones that had the grip on the side. So it was very specific what I was looking for. So I went online and looked, couldn't find anything. And then I just started looking for just knobs, period, not just guitar knobs. And came across, I forget what they're called. This was years ago. Some stereo company that makes custom stereo equipment, and it's just home audio equipment. This has nothing to do with playing music, not on instruments anyways. And they would sell these replacement knobs for some of the gear that they would make. And the knobs that they were making in-house were exactly what I was looking for. So these knobs are they're like stereo receiver knobs, right? Which made it a little bit of a pain. I had to shave them down just a little bit because the shaft coming out of the pots couldn't reach the Allen locking nut. That's, or not the nut, but the Allen key screw that's actually in here. So I had to shave those down a little bit. What else? The pickups, I really didn't like the pickups that came with this bass. I put in Seymour Duncan 1/4 pound coils, and I really haven't looked back other than a couple things. So if you're playing this bass with a pick, right, if that's what you like to use, it's going to sound great, I think. You're going to lose some things with the way that this is made, and we'll go over that. But tone-wise, with a pick, it's going to sound very good. Now, as soon as you get to any slap bass, then it becomes way more difficult. You have these open-faced pickups, right, that are just not meant for that. So every little tiny tap around these things you hear, which is what I wanted, but I like playing a lot of slap bass. And when I got this back from the shop, they had to carve this out a little bit to fit these in here. And they were really nervous. And they actually called me and they're like, hey, we have to carve your bass up a little bit to get these in here. That's fine. Do what you got to do. So you can kind of tell that they weren't like pros about this, but they did a good job. And yeah, it's as soon as I started playing any Primus on it or any Flea, I started hearing that popping. And so I had to change how I play slap bass just to keep using this bass with its configuration. In the future, yeah, I'm probably going to get back to, Bartolini's or some EMGs, right? Covered pickups, on a bass, maybe an active. I don't know. The best experience I've had with slap bass, I've had really good experience with passive stuff. This is passive. But I've had neck through 5 strings that have been active. I had a Schecter Studio 5 at one point, and that sounded great. The brights were there. The mids were there. And with the right amplifier, the lows were there, right? But this is a totally different sound from a bass like that. This is very heavy, okay? It's passive, and the pickups are very heavy too. So the sound is just, it's thicker than you might like. If I put distortion on this, that's when I think it really shines. This is a great distortion bass with this setup. And locking straps. So and Grotto tuners. They came with Grovers. Like I said, the wood, the truss rod, and the input jack are probably the only things still left stock on this. Yeah. So we're going to plug it in, and I'm going to give you kind of a tour on the tones, the different sounds that it is capable of, the stuff that it's not capable of. So we'll be right back for that. I was going to pick a specific piece to kind of test all the tonalities, keep it consistent, but I've already re-recorded this video like 10 times because I don't like the piece I picked. So it's going to be whatever I play. Let's see. So this is full. Okay, this is neck pickup. That wasn't neck pickup at all. I accidentally had so I have that switch for single coil or turning them both into humbuckers. That was on. This is full. This is neck. This is bridge. So here's a kind of to hear the neck pickup a little bit better. Here's a piece by somebody who primarily uses the neck pickup. Ryan Martini is the bass player for Mudvayne, or was. This is full. This is not how he plays it. Here's with the neck. This is how he plays it. I butchered that. But you can hear the difference quite a bit. I mean, if we do that same piece in the bridge pickup. Yeah, it's a pretty big difference. So getting a neck through bass and changing out, I mean, getting any instrument, changing out the pickups is going to be a win almost every time. It's pretty rare that I'll get an instrument and I'll be happy with the electronics. You know, it happens. I do have one instrument right now that I'm not immediately after changing the pickups in, but I know that it's going to happen, and that's that electric behind me. The pickups that came with it, because it's a pro model, are actually pretty decent. They sound good. I mean, they sound good enough to where I'm not running out the door to go and swap them like I was with this. I couldn't wait to swap the J-style pickups that came with this out. You can make them sound good. There's a guy who has a channel, does a lot of tutorials with tabs. He uses a Taurus T25. He's a very good bass player. And it looks like his Taurus is 100% bone stock, and he gets it to sound good, but it still isn't quite the sound that I would go after. So anywho, I like getting the body. If I buy an instrument, I'm buying it for the body almost 100% of the time. How it plays and the body and the rarity. Pretty much every instrument in my office has some form of rarity to it. There's pieces on this bass that are uncommon, like the bridge, the bass itself. I remember I was looking at, there's a forum online. I should find the link for it, put it in the description. And it's like a bass forum. And I don't know how many people are on it, but there's a lot of people on it. And they're all trying to list all neck through basses. They're trying to make a big list of neck through basses. More specifically, manufacturer names that make neck through basses. What it ends up turning into is a very specific list, because they've quickly found out that most manufacturers at one point in time or another have made a neck through bass, or at least enough of them to where the list just got ridiculous. So the list got longer because they had to get more specific. And they came up with a lot of basses I didn't even know about from companies I didn't even know that they were doing that, like, you know, stuff in the 80s, 90s. So that was cool. But I did not see a Taurus T25 or a Taurus T25 listed in any of this like 5 to 7 pages of basses I saw there. So yeah, I think what I'm holding is fairly unique. So it's probably not going anywhere. And that's pretty much all I have to say about it. If you have any questions, if you want to know more about it, by all means, ask. The next video I'll be doing will be on one of these other instruments. There's more stories that go with some of these other instruments. This was actually a trade. The person who owned this bass, who already did the tuners and the bridge, he did those. Everything else was still stock. He just wanted a tablet for his daughter. His daughter threw a tablet and got it wet, something, wanted a tablet. I had recently spent like $225, $250 or something on this Acer tablet that was just something I'd carry around the house. I mean, even back then, that was smarter than trying to do everything on your phone. The phones just weren't there yet as far as how we use them today. So I had a tablet, just a cheap beater tablet from Acer. And he said that tablet and $100 on top of it, and the bass is mine. Came with a hard shell case. Like I said, locking strap, came with the strap, all leather, already been modified a little bit. Again, this bridge, I haven't seen anywhere else. I know it comes out of Germany. I forget the name. Yeah, and I've just never seen one that spreads the strings and handles the width. So I got into the bass very cheap. You can still pick them up for pretty cheap. They're still not really that well known. I mean, bass players like me, obviously we know about them. But yeah, if you're looking to get something that just has a really solid foundation to build on, this is a great bass to do it with. So anyways, again, if you have any questions, let me know. I'll see you next time.